Hey guys, how's it going? I know my background is pretty bare, but this is probably the most appropriate location in my house right now for me to make a video. I'm going to be moving soon, so maybe next time I upload a video, you guys have a much prettier background to look at other than twigs. Anyway, so obviously today I'm not going to be talking about INFJs or ISTJs. Instead, I want to talk about this belief that humans are capable of giving unconditional love. I was able to arrive to this conclusion, although I know that it's not possible for us to know all there is to know about a topic, because there's always going to be some form of limitation, either cognitive or technological limitation that's going to get in the way. But anyway, I was able to arrive to this conclusion with the help of a friend. His name is Daniel DeMarco. Daniel DeMarco is to say the least, he's a great thinker. Luckily for us, he writes for a website called Vocal Media, and he'll write on a variety of topics. So I'll be leaving a link to that website in the description below in case you guys are interested in reading his work. So why do I think that humans are not capable of giving unconditional love? Because we don't live in a society, we don't live in a world that allows for that to be sustainable. We are here to survive. And to love unconditionally would actually be stupid, and it would be detrimental. We have the capability to love. However, to love to such an extreme that it is unconditional would just not work out to our benefit. Precisely because we don't live in a world that would... We don't live in a world where unconditional love is compatible. Sadly, but hey, you're alive. So that's what matters. I was thinking about this a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I have 2 children. If you're a parent, you'll understand that the love that you feel for your children is pretty unique. You might think that it's unconditional. And I did this mental experiment in my head where I visualized my kids stabbing me. I even picture them doing horrendous acts, like criminal stuff, bad stuff. And I would still love them. That seems pretty unconditional. But transform them into the insect that I despise the most, a cockroach, and I just can't do it. I can't. All the properties that make my son or my daughter would be completely destroyed. There would be no residue of them left if they were to turn into a cockroach, obviously. My survival instincts would just not allow for any love to exist. Think about this too. Think about it. Do you have the capability to love if your basic needs are not even met? Like breathing, eating, getting water? No, right? You can't even fathom to think about anything like love when you're in need of food and water. Once you have those basic needs met, then you can start considering something like that. But first things first, survival. Anyway, so that's that. There's the internal and external components that we're looking for in someone. Now, we don't get to choose that with our children, obviously, but they have the genetic component. You love them because they're a little you. They're your blood. On top of that, there's probably a really good reason, this is probably another reason, I should say, why it takes 9 months for a baby to develop, on top of the fact that we're very complicated and many other factors that go into the time that it takes for a little being to be created in your womb as a woman. But maybe one of the reasons is because it takes time to form a bond with a baby that you've never met before, because you have to love he or she enough so that when he or she is born, you feed it and you give it skin-to-skin contact, affection, so that they don't pass away. There was an observational study that was conducted where they found that if an infant, during their first 2 weeks of life, if they don't receive skin-to-skin contact from their mom, they would pass away. Maybe not every single instance, but it does occur probably more often than we think. Okay, so then Daniel DeMarco mentioned, time. The component of time is gigantic. You don't just love someone right off the bat. You have to spend time with them in order to see if this person qualifies or is eligible to receive our love. So yes, you can give unconditional love if conditions are met. And then somebody else told me, I'm not going to share who this person is in the event that they don't want me to share their identity, but this person mentioned, well, what about love at first sight? And I thought about that for a moment. I thought that was a very good point. I had forgotten about love at first sight. But then I was thinking, no, there's still time involved. There is, even if it's a split second, there is time involved. Even if there's 0 seconds. You still are traveling in time to meet that person at that particular location on that date at that specific time for love at first sight to have happened to you. So why am I mentioning all this, right? It's not to burst anybody's bubbles. It's just so that you realize your own limitations when it comes to the emotional aspect of being a human being. Because maybe what if some people feel guilty or feel bad whenever they can't give that unconditional love that they're supposed to be experiencing because certain conditions are not being met by the other person? And then they feel bad and they probably start questioning if there's something wrong with them. When in fact, what if it's completely normal and it's just a general human condition that we just are not equipped to give unconditional love? So anyway, that's all I wanted to share.